Tov. Sheila comes up sometimes, as we had this past Shabbat, when it comes to calling people up to different aliyot Torah, getting an aliyat at the Torah. There are halachot about having relatives. We're going to get into specifically which ones going up to aliyah in consecutive order. Maran brings down, interestingly, in Siman Kuf Mem Aleph Sif Vav, that there is a concern, there's a hakpada that we have, not to call up a father and a son, or two brothers, consecutive aliyot. Father and a son, consecutive aliyot. The reason for that is, Maran explains, because of ayin hara. Because of ayin hara. You have a parade of family members, huh? Back to back, consecutive. Yeah. In other words, father and then a son, or brother and then another brother. Then there's a concern of ayin hara. So that includes two brothers, even if they're only half brothers, meaning they share a father, they share a mother. Poskim bring down, they're not full brothers, still we still have the same concern of ayin hara. Does this apply, as the question comes in Shabbat, does this apply to a grandfather and grandson? So the halacha is that we do apply this concern by a grandfather and ben bino, meaning his son's son. For a grandfather to go up for aliyah and then his son's son, let's say you have in case of a bar mitzvah, you want to give an aliyah to the grandfather and then you want to call the bar mitzvah boy. So a ben bino, yesh makpidim. So there are people that are concerned even by a ben bino. However, by ben bito, if it's his daughter's son, then there's no concern. We could have a daughter's son be called up to the Torah for aliyah right after the grandfather. That's not a concern. What about if it's between the last aliyah and then maftir? So there's a kaddish in between. Are we particular then also? Once again, the poskim saying that even if there's a kaddish in between, we are still having this concern, and therefore you should not call up the grandfather for a shvi'i and then give the grandson maftir. It's considered consecutive. One place where we're not concerned about this is if the grandson who's going to be saying maftir is less than bar mitzvah. The halacha is we will allow a child who is less than bar mitzvah to have the maftir aliyah and say the haftarah. So in a case where the child having the grandson having the maftir is younger than bar mitzvah, then we don't have this concern. It's only when he's over bar mitzvah. An interesting question that comes up when it comes to having the aliyot is there's certain aliyot which are considered more prominent. They're considered more prestigious. Specifically, we're talking about over here about the aliyat shishit. The sixth aliyah is considered the most chashuv. So the question is, can you give a son an aliyah which is more prominent than the aliyah which was given to his father? For example, let's say the father got shlishi, the third aliyah, and the son is being given the sixth aliyah. So it's a separate question. Over here we're discussing until now ayin hara, having family members called up consecutively. Now we're talking more a question of kibud ava'im. Is it appropriate for the son to get an aliyah which is more prominent? So the poskim say, in fact, that the son should not get the aliyah shishit, he should not get the sixth aliyah, where his father got a less prominent aliyah, like shlishi, for example.
Usually bar mitzvah we give aliyah shishit.
To the bar mitzvah, that's a different story. Right, that's a different story for it. But in general, to give the aliyah that's more prominent to the son when the father got a less prominent aliyah, then that is not allowed. However, the poskim say if the aliyot are given out, they're distributed based on selling the aliyot, so it's not really giving it to who is more prominent or less prominent, it's whoever pays for it. So whoever pays for it is entitled to the aliyah, and in that case, you would be able to give the son the aliyah shishit, even in a case where the father got a less prominent aliyah. One other thing, we mentioned before that we are makpid not to give the father and the son consecutive aliyot, or two brothers consecutive, even if one is shvi'i and one is maftir, there's a kaddish in between. However, let's say it's on Yom Tov, and it's two separate sfarim altogether. So if it's Simchat Torah, for example, you give the aliyah shvi'i to the father, can you give the aliyah of maftir to the son? Because it's a whole different Sefer Torah. In that case, we do allow it. So, if it's the same Sefer, even though there's Kaddish in between, Shvi and Maftir, then we are Makpid. We don't give relatives, in this case, two brothers or father, son, consecutive aliyot, one after the other. But if it's two separate Sfarim, then we will allow the father and the son to get one after the other, or two brothers, one after the other.